Hi everybody, the title of this video today is Who are the Controlled Opposition? And I'll be just going through a few people. Just like to say first off, Biden. I mean, we're talking about a guy who looks feeble enough as it is. Always has to have his wife sort of telling him where he is, what day it is, steering him around the stage. He's double masked up. And now, to add to all that, he's got his foot in a boot. Is this projecting a capable leader? You know, we mock Kim Jong-un, but at least he's not walking around double masked up with a boot on his foot, chained to his wife on a leash almost. It's quite embarrassing, really. Is this projecting strength? Do you think Putin or any other leader looks at this and think, we better reckon with this guy? Come on, it's crazy. Anyway, just a little note about my video the other day on the 5 men who influenced the age of Pisces and who will influence the age of Aquarius. I had a few notes about people who thought I was negative. Basically, I did say we were at a crossroads. I didn't say it was a fait accompli. But I think the problem is as opposed to the hippie view, which I think a lot of people will be talking about when it comes to age of Aquarius, all peace, love, communal business, should I say, and everything's going to be fantastic. I was looking at the technology side of it. Now, when I say we're at a crossroads, it could go that direction, right? But either way, there's a choice to be made, because these things, we've all been seduced by these things. We've been seduced by the technology. But the technology, although giving us a lot of convenience, helping us to earn money, stay in touch with people, all the great things about it, it's also part of our enslavement and our entrapment. So until we, as individuals, make a conscious effort to push technology out of our life, to fight for our rights, nothing will change. So we're being railroaded in that direction that I was talking about, the technocracy, the AI takeover, but we can stop it. That's why it's a crossroads. But stopping it doesn't mean carrying on as normal and just hoping for the best. It means there's sacrifices to be made, and that includes, thinking more about our dependence on these things, all technology that is, and pushing back, right? So, now, I was saying the other day about politics being a Punch and Judy show. So, what have we got with Punch and Judy? The journalists generally focus on the Punch and Judy show. Oh, Punch and Judy, isn't that terrible? Let's get outraged. Oh, wait a minute, Judy's getting up again. She's resurgent. She's going to take on Punch. Come on, guys, let's get behind Judy. Isn't this exciting? Are you all hanging on the edge of your seats? But what the journalists don't tell you is it's just a puppet show. There are people behind the scenes pulling the strings. 1 or 2 people. Let's pull aside the curtains and see who's behind there. The journalists don't tell you that. So, let me start by saying, I'll come to this little piece down here. We have a journalist in the UK, Peter Hitchens. If you in America don't know him, he is a quality journalist. He's not just a political hack talking a lot of nonsense. He knows his onions. He's worth his salt. He's erudite. He's a bit of a toff, really, but he's got a distinguished career in proper journalism. I would say he is a journalist worth his salt. Now, he's been, from the outset, he's been very skeptical. I would say I'd heard him on Mike Graham's show from February. He was immediately skeptical of this whole thing. He's done a great job holding the government to account, criticizing lockdown, talking about the absurdity of the figures, putting a lot of truth out there, talking about how we have an almost East German parliament now where there's no effective opposition. They have different colours, but they all basically do the same thing. Had some really good articles tearing apart this whole narrative. However, I see him on Mike Graham a couple of weeks ago, and he says, I'm not getting into any Bill Gates conspiracy theories. Now, you see, he just wants to focus on the level of the Punch and Judy show, and he doesn't want to go beyond that. So yes, he's doing a good journalistic job in terms of the old commentating on the puppet show, but he doesn't want to look further. Why not? I'm not asking him to look at conspiracy theories. Look at Bill Gates' facts and corruption. We're not talking about conspiracy. It's good old-fashioned corruption, and a lot of the evidence is coming out of Gates' mouth himself. He, as a proper journalist, should be analyzing all the tentacles of the Gates Foundation, how many fingers in every pie he has, what he's saying, what he's doing, what he's proposing, who he's involved with, and analyzing that. So why isn't he prepared to look at it? So then I'm beginning to think, is he controlled opposition? Because while I don't want to take away from the good work he's doing, if he's not prepared to go any further and look at the people at the top of the pyramid, what use is he? So there we go. One example of a kind of controlled opposition. So why won't he look at that? They just dismiss it. Oh, it's conspiracy theory. Why is it a theory? There's plenty of hard evidence on Bill Gates' own websites to look into and say, what the hell is going on here? Next one, you guys know, I've talked about her before. She's a journalist, recent politician of the Brexit Party, long history of being involved in revolutionary Marxism and publications in connection with living Marxism. She currently runs a think tank. Now, guys, every time you hear the word think tank in the UK, think Mossad. But I mean, generally, hear the word think tank, think security services, because this is generally what they are. So Claire Fox, also a little bit critical of lockdown. She has pretty populist views, I'd say, but I've had my suspicions about it. So let's have a look here at the Institute of Ideas, which is her think tank. It says there this institute is a successor project to living Marxism. Now, in a way, her support of Brexit, she doesn't sound like a Marxist any time I've heard her talking, so I'm a bit suspicious. There you go, Claire Fox, there she is, the director, and there's some other people there. However, if we go further down this page, we find funding for the Institute of Ideas, whoops, and there you go, Novartis and Pfizer. Pfizer, who today, very exciting, in the UK have announced that they have the miracle cure is ready for everybody, and it will, Britain is the first Western country to have it ready for distribution, made by Pfizer. So she's sponsored by them, so when she's criticising things to do with COVID, well, how impartial is she, right? So that's something there. Now, another thing we have going on in the UK at the moment, we have another Fox, Lawrence Fox, used to be an actor, comes from an acting family, actually. His cousin Amelia Fox is in a very good forensic science mystery program called Silent Witness. But anyhow, he's lately become outspoken on issues of cultural Marxism, bias at the BBC. Yeah, he's saying all the right things. I do believe he's sincere, but he started a political party. So now we've got, I believe Claire Fox is starting a political party. We've got Nigel Farage doing his Reform Party, and I can tell you with a name like Reform Party, that's going nowhere. That is not an inspiring name. But, so on the right, we now have UKIP. Nigel Farage's Reform Party, Claire Fox is starting a party, Lawrence Fox is starting a party, and we've got Anne-Marie Waters for Britain. This is splitting the vote on the right. What do we need this for? This is totally counterproductive. So all these people, probably just agents to split the voices on the populist right, get us all running in different directions, totally counterproductive. So that's really what I have to say. Like I say, I don't believe Lawrence Fox is necessarily controlled opposition, but there you go. Next person, controlled opposition, Steve Pieczenik. I've been a little bit suspicious about him for a while. Now, he comes on Alex Jones the other day. He sounds like Q, really. He's coming up with the same Q stuff. And I think his angle is, look, pacify the people on the right. We don't want them protesting too much. So tell them everything's in hand. It's got it all sorted. There's nothing to worry about. We guarantee them it's all going to be okay. So they go back to sleep and don't do very much. He could be a kind of mollifying, pacifying force. So who else do we have? Okay. Beginning to get suspicious of Tulsi Gabbard, right? Do you know when the Democrats did their primaries, where we really had Biden and Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders and all they were really doing is shuffling the pack until Biden came out on top. You know, they just kind of hung around enough to split the vote, to keep splitting the vote until Biden got through. So they all played their role in helping Biden get in. And you notice Bernie Sanders, every time he gets conned out of it. I mean, if Elizabeth Warren had quit one conference sooner, Bernie probably would have won the vote. But you see, she stayed in to split the vote. Tulsi Gabbard pulled out so she wouldn't split the vote because apparently she was behind Bernie. But he didn't really support her. And now she was very quick to congratulate Biden, and we'll see why in a moment. I think that shows up that she must be a fraud. But yeah, so they were all just playing the game in the Democrat Party to get him in, to help him in. So you can't trust one of them, and then she's very quick to congratulate him, even though he's voted for every single war which she's supposedly against. And he's, well, we'll look at his appointments just now. That's part of the second thing that I've got over here. And then we have people like Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib, which I believe are also controlled opposition. I'm going to explain why. And as far as AOC, you know that song, she was working as a waitress in a cocktail bar. Yeah, well, I think that was her. She was the one working as a waitress in a cocktail bar when she was talent spotted by some Democrat. Yeah. So let's just pop down here and see what we've got. So that was all Claire Fox. Okay. So, whoops, I had some notes written here. Let's look at the appointments before I go to this. Let's look at Biden's appointments. We have got Antony Blinken, Secretary of State, Janet Yellen, Secretary of the Treasury, Alejandro Mayorkas, Homeland Secretary, and Ron Klain, Chief of Staff. Now, I'm not saying this, but there are a lot of people who are saying those are 4 pole positions in government. They're all arch Zionists. So what does Ilhan Omar think, Omar and Rashida Tlaib think about this? Well, apparently Rashida Tlaib was having some complaints, which she said she might now be silenced in her support of Palestine because of this. But do you see all these people who you wouldn't really think would be keen on arch Zionists, and they are all supporting Biden, and look at his picks for arch Zionists. Well, according not to me, according to what a lot of people might say in key positions. Do they have a problem with that? No. And as I say, the people he's looking at, I mean, okay, let's have a look now at this little bit. So this is what Netanyahu said to Joe Biden. Joe, we've had a long and warm personal relationship for nearly 40 years, and I know you as a great friend of Israel. Right, so it's really surprising that Ilan and Rashid are so keen on Biden, right? Netanyahu wrote in a tweet addressing President-elect Biden and Vice President Harris, blah, blah, blah. He says, I look forward to working with both of you to strengthen the special alliance between the US and Israel. So it says, well, it goes on to say it was an awkward moment for Netanyahu, blah, blah, blah. But Netanyahu is right about Biden's unconditional career-long commitment to Israel. Back in 1986, Biden told the Senate that Israel is the best $3 billion investment we make. He said, were they not in Israel, the United States of America would have to invent an Israel to protect our interests in the region. Sounds cozy, doesn't it? Sounds very hawkish as well. It's a theme that returns time and time again. Israel is the single greatest strength America has in the Middle East, Biden told an interviewer in 2007. He said, when I was a young senator, I'd say, if I were a Jew, I'd be a Zionist. I am a Zionist. You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. There you go. But look at who's supporting Biden. You know, do you see that these people must be plants anyway? So Biden's love for Israel has survived everything that's been thrown at it, and that includes the public humiliation Netanyahu's government inflicted on Biden in 2020 when he was vice president. Israel apparently, there you go. Sorry, my little arrow isn't working for some reason. Israel apparently timed the announcement of a new colony in occupied East Jerusalem specifically to embarrass Biden, who was visiting Israel in an effort to advance the Obama administration's peace effort. Then it goes on again about Israel building as many settlement homes on Palestinian land during the Obama years as it did during the Bush administration. You see, nothing changes. Again, it's the Punch and Judy show. What's different between Obama, between Bush, between Biden? And yet Tulsi's going along with this, you know. Not only that, but Israel killed an average of 11 children per day during its summer 2014 assault on Gaza. The Obama-Biden administration resupplied Israel with munitions. True friends don't let friends run out of missiles when they're bombing an impoverished, defenseless refugee population caged in a ghetto. During its 51-day assault, Israel killed more than 2,200 Palestinians, and the Obama administration sprung into action to thwart the Palestinians from seeking justice for Israel war crimes at the International Court. But Rashida Tlaib supports Biden. I don't know how much she supports him, but she's certainly going along with it, isn't she? They're all going along with it. Therefore, are any of them honest? Tulsi, whoever else you want to mention that you would suspect would be against this sort of stuff? They're all thrilled that he's in. They're all thrilled with the cheating. Wouldn't Trump actually be better for this situation? And yet they're supporting Biden. That's why I say all these people are just controlled opposition, guys. You know, when you look at that and you say, come on, who's got Biden? Who should be Biden's big friends? Who shouldn't they be? And it's the same in this country. Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that. I just thought of these people and I thought more examples of controlled opposition, more examples that you keep having to do your research and just, sussing out who's worth their salt, who says what they mean. It's crazy. Just a little update. I was watching the Michigan hearings and there was an excellent woman that spoke for quite a long time, and she worked for the Secretary of State in terms of election integrity and all that. She went on and on and on, and she said that recounts and orders are just impossible. because they've got 71% of votes in basically Detroit in this particular example, cannot be audited, cannot be recounted because they haven't been destroyed, but they're sealed. And it's unclear why they can't be unsealed. She said after many years they can be destroyed. But why these votes can't be unsealed, I don't know. She said at one stage they need a full forensic audit. But what a lot of people missed during these Michigan hearings that concerned me is the legislators seemed only interested in how they could remedy this by passing laws for the future. I didn't hear any questions about how they could remedy it now. Actually, the one woman asked if they would need a full forensic audit. So in that, I'd say one of the women who were questioning on the Senate Oversight Committee was asking what would be needed, and she said, would it be a full forensic audit? I didn't hear a resounding yes. The answer was kind of long and involved and a little bit waffly, and it should have been a resounding yes, unless there's no way, forensic audit or plain audit, that they can work through this. And as I say, the other senators were just on the lines of how can we fix it for next time? So you kind of worry. I know that there's a lot of hope that the Wisconsin recount, there's 200,000 ballots that are in dispute because they have a very strict system there for mail-in voting. You do not get a mail-in vote unless you've written and applied for it, so it's very easy to throw out all the mail-in ballots that weren't specifically requested in writing with a signature, in theory. But in practice, will they order it? Will a court order that that's done? Because I'm beginning to see now that they're just going to say, well, let's fix it for next time. And we know they won't. We know they won't. If it's not fixed this time, it's pretty much overs, right? We'll see. Lynn Wood speaking some tough talk, taking out ads in the Washington Post that Trump should declare martial law and have the whole election invalidated and do a new one. Gosh, can you imagine the commotion if that happened, hey? Then we'd see a commotion to end all commotions, wouldn't we? So we're just going to see what happens, but I'm beginning to see too many signs that I don't like. Occasionally I'm optimistic. I'm thinking, well, this could happen, but then occasionally you're thinking, yes, but until they've actually audited it, until either the court has audited it or the legislators have audited it, we don't know. Because while in theory, if we follow the Constitution to the letter, we will get on a path where Trump has a clear path to victory, there's no guarantee that the Constitution will be followed. There's no guarantee that the law will be followed. All that they'll end up saying is, well, isn't it unfortunate that this year there was all these problems with the law, and it's very unfortunate that the Constitution wasn't followed. But let's just forget about that. Let's put that aside. Let's all move on and just make sure it doesn't happen again. Like we get the story in the UK all the time of lessons learned. They never are, but it's too late. It's too late. So that's some of the stuff that concerns me. Anyway, guys, sorry if you thought I was negative about the whole age of Aquarius thing. It's just a different perspective. I mean, look, I'm doing more regular vlogs. I'm sure I'll come up with some different viewpoints at another time to explore different angles of things. In the meantime, I hope you're all well. I'm having a good week. It seems to be turning very, very cold here in the UK, in America. So take care, everybody, and chat to you soon.